Have you ever had that unsettling sense that something was off, but you couldn't quite explain what? As if your choices weren't truly your own, as if an invisible hand was guiding you? Maybe you've agreed to things you didn't want, backed down from arguments you were right about, or trusted someone who later revealed a completely different face. If any of this resonates with you, and it likely does, then this video is your wake-up call. Because the harsh truth is this: you're being manipulated every single day. By people close to you, by media, by leaders, by anyone who understands the secret levers of the human mind. And the worst part, you don't even notice. You don't need hypnosis or mind control from a movie. The most dangerous manipulation is the one that convinces you you're in charge, that your choices were yours alone, and that your mistakes were all your fault. Most people go through life this way, being moved like pawns on a board game. They never agreed to play, and when they start to wake up, what do they feel? Guilt, fear, confusion. They've been emotionally trained to stay quiet, and if you believe you're immune, think again. That's exactly what a good manipulator wants you to believe. In this video, I won't offer you comfort. I'll offer you tools. Because the ones who truly master manipulation, like Machiavelli once understood, don't need to force you. They study you. They wait. They find your weak spots. And then they act. They know what drives you. And if you don't, you'll be driven by them. You'll understand how manipulation works without you even noticing. You'll spot emotional traps, subtle power games, and you'll learn to identify your own blind spots. Because real freedom isn't about doing what you want, it's about knowing why you want it. This video is for those who are tired of being used, for those who've been blamed, ignored, silenced. It's time to move from being the puppet to becoming the strategist. But once you see the truth, there's no unseeing it. So get ready. What you're about to uncover could completely change how to see people and how to see yourself. And if you're finding value so far, take a second now to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Have you ever noticed how certain people always get what they want even when they don't deserve it? They don't yell, they don't threaten, they simply make you feel like giving in was your idea. That's not charisma, it's technique, pure manipulation. Manipulators don't act impulsively. They watch, they learn. They pay attention to how you speak, how you pause, what you need emotionally. They see when you're desperate for approval or afraid of rejection, and they use that against you. It starts before they say a word, with their gaze, their smile, the way they compliment you. They make you feel noticed, special, seen. But it's all calculated. They create a sense of emotional debt. You feel you owe them something. Others use guilt. They play the victim. They say they're overwhelmed, that they only have you. They slowly make you responsible for their emotional well-being. So when you finally say no, they don't fight back, they just sigh, go silent, or look hurt. That's enough to keep you hooked. Then there's fear. They paint catastrophic futures. If you do this, you'll end up alone. You'll never find someone like me. They don't trap you with chains, they trap you with ideas. And suddenly, you're locked in, by your own consent. This isn't new. Machiavelli described it centuries ago, how people can be molded, influenced, controlled. He wrote that men judge more with their eyes than with their hands. Everyone sees, but few understand. Manipulation is a show, and you don't even realize you're on stage. The most chilling part, you believe the story is yours, but it only works because there's something inside you allowing it, a gap, a wound, a need. As long as that space exists unexamined, you'll mistake manipulation for love, or friendship, or respect. Let's expose this. If this message is resonating, pause for a moment, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning. You're not manipulated because you're weak. You're manipulated because you're human. Because inside every person lives a blind spot, a need, an old wound, a craving for approval. And that's where manipulators slip in. Maybe you were raised to believe love is earned, that to be accepted, you had to please others, that saying no is selfish, and so you give more than you should. You silence yourself. You call it kindness, when it's really fear. Manipulators feed on this. They offer crumbs of validation, and you respond with loyalty. They say what you want to hear and you give up your boundaries. Others carry guilt. They believe prioritizing themselves is wrong. They were taught that self-sacrifice is noble. So even when something feels off, they don't speak up because they fear being seen as ungrateful or cold. And then there's fear of rejection, of loneliness. People with these wounds cling to any connection, no matter how toxic. Manipulators offer security and then threaten to take it away. All of these wounds come from somewhere past pain, trauma, conditioning. But until you confront them, they stay open. And manipulators know exactly where to press. Machiavelli knew true control doesn't need force. It only needs insight. People are easily convinced, he said, but hard to hold in that conviction. Manipulators don't argue. They fill your mental voids. They act where your awareness is missing. But there's a way out. You don't have to remain emotionally predictable. You can seal your mental gaps. You can build a kind of emotional armor that protects you from manipulation. That's what we'll explore next. Are you ready to stop being a pawn? Because real freedom takes courage. The courage to accept that your empathy and kindness without awareness can make you vulnerable. Emotional immunity isn't about being cold. It's about being conscious. Start by identifying your triggers. Do you fear rejection? Hate disappointing others? Crave peace so much you give in too easily? Once you see the pattern, you can change the game. Then, cultivate strategic detachment. Observe without reacting. Accept praise without dependence. Listen without obligation. The manipulator thrives on urgency or urgency. Break the pattern. Be unpredictable. Say no when a yes is expected. Step away when they expect you to insist. Stay calm when they provoke. This confuses them and reveals their true motives. And above all, build a solid identity. When you truly know yourself, you stop needing approval. You stop giving manipulators a way in. But this isn't a wartime lesson, it's a practice. A way of living, of staying firm, of holding your truth even when everything around you pushes for silence. Machiavelli once said, "Men must either be cherished or destroyed. If they are merely offended, they will seek revenge." It's cold, but it reminds us, in emotional games, there is no middle ground. You either play or get played. But what if the manipulator is someone close, your partner, your boss, your parent? What do you do when you can't walk away? In the next part, we'll face the most painful truth. How to escape emotional control when it comes from someone you love. And that may be the hardest lesson yet. Continue watching, because the next part could change everything. It's easy to talk about manipulation when it comes from a stranger. The challenge begins when the person trying to control you is someone you deeply care about, a parent, a romantic partner, close friend, or a boss who once gave you an opportunity. That's when manipulation becomes more sophisticated, more difficult to identify, and infinitely more painful. Because in these relationships, control doesn't wear a mask of cruelty. It wears a mask of affection, of loyalty, of care. And so you find yourself justifying behaviors, explaining away signs, denying your intuition, because walking away would mean giving up on someone you love. Or worse, betraying the version of yourself who stayed too long. You might hear, "I only do this because I love you," or "No one will ever love you the way I do." These words are not declarations of love, they are weapons. Love, when used as a chain, is not love. It is emotional blackmail. In families, this manipulation hides behind tradition. You can't say that to your mother. "You owe us," but guilt is not a foundation for genuine respect. True respect is chosen, not demanded. And at work, it sounds like gratitude. Be thankful. No one else would give you this chance. But gratitude leveraged as obligation is just another form of emotional debt. And this is the core truth. Proximity does not justify control. Love does not excuse manipulation. And emotional bonds, no matter how long-standing, do not give anyone the right to shape your reality. To break this cycle, you must first accept something that hurts. Not every bond where love exists is healthy. Not every person who loves you knows how to love in a free, respectful, and supportive way. And not every relationship that holds you close is truly protecting you. Some are simply preventing you from growing. So how do you respond when the manipulator is close? You begin with boundaries. Clear, calm, non-negotiable. A simple, unshakable no has more power than endless justifications. Then comes exposure, speaking the truth of what you see and feel, not to convince the other, but to reclaim your voice for yourself. And then comes the test, because when you draw the line, the reaction will come. Victimhood. Silence. Accusations. The manipulator will try to make you feel guilty, disloyal, ungrateful. But the truth is, their power was never about love. It was about control. And when control is threatened, it always resists. Here is a hard but necessary truth. Sometimes the most loving act is to walk away, to let go, to allow the person you care about to face their own emptiness without using you as a crutch. As long as you remain available, explaining, fixing, sacrificing, they won't change. And you will slowly lose yourself. It's not selfish to choose your mental health. It's not cruel to protect your peace. Real love does not ask you to abandon yourself. It invites you to grow, to be seen, to be free. And once you begin to see through the disguise of manipulation, you will also begin to awaken a new type of perception, one that sees beneath appearances, that feels beyond the surface. And it's with this new perception that we move into the next phase. How to apply Machiavelli's ancient insights to modern life. How to shield your mind in a world where everything and everyone is trying to shape what you think, how you feel, and what you choose. Because the world has changed, but the mechanisms of power remain the same. Machiavelli never wrote for comfort. He wrote to reveal reality in its rawest form. He understood that surviving in a manipulative world requires more than goodwill. It requires strategic clarity, cold logic, emotional detachment. Today, we live in an age of constant influence. Social media. Politics, advertising, religion, relationships. Every interaction is shaped by image, narrative, persuasion. If you don't understand this, you are not living, you are being lived. Machiavelli believed that humans are not driven by reason but by desire and fear. And he was right. People don't make decisions based on truth, they base them on perception. As he wrote, men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. Everyone can see, but only a few can touch. In today's language, perception is more powerful than reality, so what do? You start by rejecting emotional autopilot. Stop reacting. Start observing. Understand that what works for one person may destroy another. That morality without context can be dangerous. That goodness without boundaries is not a virtue, it's an invitation to be used. Kindness, when weaponized, becomes weakness. Honesty, without timing, becomes vulnerability. And unconditional giving, when not protected by self-respect, becomes self-erasure. You must learn to play the game intelligently. Begin with observation. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. Watch people when they believe no one is watching. Don't trust words, trust behavior. Ask yourself, what do they gain from what they're saying? What's the motive behind the compliment, the request, the silence? Then master the art of strategic silence. One of the greatest weapons you have is saying nothing. Let people fill the space. Let them reveal themselves. Silence creates discomfort for the manipulator. It breaks their rhythm. It makes them guess, hesitate, falter. And in that moment, you regain control. And finally, cultivate controlled ambiguity. You don't owe the world your full truth. You only owe it enough to guide perception. Keep your deepest truths protected. Let people see what you want them to see, no more, no less. Because power is not in what's revealed, it's in what remains hidden. And above all, take full responsibility for your emotional life. When you regulate yourself, your reactions, your impulses, your fears, you become immune to those who seek to exploit them. Machiavelli wrote, "A prudent man follows in the footsteps of the great, to imitate their path. And if he cannot reach their greatness, he may still come close." In other words, learn from those who understand the rules, not just to play the game, but to master it. Now that you understand the core of manipulation, how it works, how it hides, and how to neutralize it, there remains one final step, and it's the most transformative of all. How do you take full control of your own mind? That's what we'll explore next. Are you ready? So here we are at the turning point. You've opened your eyes to how manipulation works. You've recognized the patterns. You've identified your vulnerabilities. But now comes the real question. What will you do with this awareness? Knowledge, by itself, changes nothing. It only becomes power when applied. So this is your moment to decide, will you continue living on automatic, reacting to every emotional trigger, or will you reclaim your mind, your focus, your direction? Let's make something clear. You were not born to be controlled. You were not born to be a pawn in someone else's game. But breaking free requires more than realization. It requires action, intention, reprogramming. And it starts by questioning everything, especially yourself. Ask yourself, are your desires truly yours? Or were they planted by others? The car you want, the partner you chase, the opinions you defend, did they emerge from inner truth or external conditioning? Freedom begins not with rebellion, but with reflection. And then, discipline. The kind that rewires your reactions. That catches the emotional hook before it catches you. That builds a space between stimulus and response. Because in that space, you choose. You no longer react, you respond. And that is where your power lives. Begin to train your mind daily. Practice emotional fasting. Resist the urge to over-explain, to apologize for your boundaries, to soothe everyone else at the cost of your peace. Don't be cruel, be clear. Learn to sit in silence without trying to fix. Learn to let discomfort rise without rushing to escape it. Because the manipulator feeds on your discomfort. The more you chase comfort, the more control you surrender. Detach from the need to be liked. Approval is the leash of the manipulator. Once you stop needing it, you become untouchable. Also remember this, not everyone deserves access to your mind. Curate your environment. Guard your attention. Be ruthless with what you consume. The shows you watch, the voices you listen to, the content you absorb, everything shapes you. If you want mental strength, you need mental hygiene. And most importantly, start speaking your truth. Even if your voice shakes, even if no one claps. Because every time you choose authenticity over approval, your mind becomes freer, stronger, unshakable. Now, pause and think. Who are you when no one's watching? What decisions would you make if fear wasn't whispering in your ear? That's the real you. That's the version they've been trying to hide from you. It's time to bring that version forward. And if this video helped you open the door within yourself, don't stop here. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, not just to follow, but to remind yourself that you are choosing awareness, clarity, and personal power. Also, share in the comments. At what point in your life did you realize someone was manipulating you? What did it feel like? Or are you still untangling from an emotional web? Your voice matters, and speaking up is the first step to freedom. Because we are not meant to walk this alone. Each comment is a signal to others. You're not the only one waking up. We're many, and together, we build a space where truth thrives. So keep climbing, keep sharpening your awareness, keep choosing clarity over illusion. Because the truth doesn't just set you free, it makes you unstoppable. See you in the next video.